Rebecca is a rock star, and she is here today, and she came all the way up from 3.5 hours away.
No, it was only like an hour and a half.
Well, there was snow, right? Like,
surprisingly not as much. Like, I feel like there was more snow in Graham than there was on the way up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the real estate market.
Yeah.
Throw some hiccups in there, and you figure it out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Let's go with this. I'm gonna throw one at you. Let's get crazy. Let's do it. It's gonna be super simple. What was your favorite deal you did last year? Your favorite client, your favorite deal, your favorite interaction. And if that one's too hard to think about,
They're all my favorite.
think about some trauma. Who's your worst client that you
all
had?
of them. No, so everybody that I had last year was directly from my sphere of influence. And so I would have to say, like, really, they are all my favorite because they were some of my favorite people. But it was a little bit traumatic. The first sale that I had last year, we had so many stupid extensions, and it was just because of, for one, coronavirus makes, the delay still for everything, and they needed, they ordered the wrong appraisal.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so because they had an appraisal waiver, there needed to be, which I don't understand. If there is an appraisal waiver, why then do we need this different appraiser to do but whatever. And then they needed a specific notary that only worked in the city. Oh, because I know why. They had an appraisal waiver for the house that they bought with me, the one that I sold, but their house that was contingent that they sold, that one was a land trust sale. So they needed a specific appraiser for that one. And then that involved having a different notary, like a very specific notary that only worked between 11 and 2 on Tuesdays.
Oh, that must be nice. I wish I could live off 3 hours of work a week.
I know. Yeah, that was
I didn't know
dumb.
notaries could get paid like that.
I don't even take a fee when I notarize, but...
I mean, you got to specialize. Whatever they specialize in, you got to do that.
Well, then I'd have to go to work at the city of Seattle, and I'm not going to do
I haven't heard the word contingency in a while.
Contingency.
I mean, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to waive it. No, I was asking clients, I'm like, do you know what you're waiving? Like, what is that?
No?
No, like up here, it's been crazy. How do you counteract? You're good with it though.
Yeah.
Like you're cool. You're cool with just flowing with whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like contingencies are cool. Clients are cool with it. Have you run any of those issues yet where you've lost deals because you're contingent, or do you feel like you've worked through those?
No, we've worked through all of those. The only thing, and it wasn't something that I've lost, it was that my clients rescinded. And it was for good cause. They'd had the inspection, because I'm not going to have them waive their inspection either. That's
it's scary.
Yeah. I mean, some people can, but it's not wise. It's worth covering your butt for that.
Waiving inspection can happen if you want to, as long as you have the liquidity. If the foundation is bad, right?
Exactly.
Like that's legitimately could be a problem.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like our jobs are to advise, right? And if we advise a client, like, hey, we're going to waive all this, I feel like we should take some personal responsibility behind what we're saying, right?
Yeah,
and that's all fine, just as long as the client knows exactly what they're saying. Correct.
Yeah. Well, and if they're a first-time home buyer, I'm not gonna let them do that. You need to know exactly what's going on here, because I've been a first-time home buyer and not been privy to the situation. This was before I was an agent, so I make sure, like, my husband is now a first-time home buyer. I made him do the class, and all of that jazz. And as your agent, I'm going to tell you how to do it right, and I'm not going to just do it for you, because you need to know.
I have a first-time home buyer book that I send out, and there's a lot of like, when you've been in this for so long, I have a client that watched one of my videos the other day and was like, what is FHA?
Oh.
And in my head, I was just like, I should have brought it down a little bit. I sent him a book. He's like, oh, this is great. Like, everyone should get this and watches your videos.
Book. Yeah.
It works out good. Like, just talking about escrow. Like, people don't realize how much is involved on the escrow side of things. People don't even think about, like, you're not going to call escrow, right? Like, you're not going to call them and ask questions. You could. Like, there's great people that work at our escrow companies.
Absolutely.
But, like, everyone's like, what's earnest money? Like, do I not get that back? Like, is that part of the down payment? Like, what's happening?
Yes and no and no.
Have you seen, I had a couple of these the other day, people giving up their earnest money day of offer?
No, not yet.
That is the craziest one I've been seeing. It's one of few offers. It's like, I'll put $30,000 earnest money down. Let's go $600,000 house, right? This got a couple weeks ago. $30,000 down. When I looked at the contract, earnest money was immediately deliverable to the seller.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that is a heck of a negotiation. Like, that's creative.
Right, instead of a 3-day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm working with regular people.
But even if the deal fell through, they already gave it up.
That's insane.
Like, they already gave it up ahead of time. Like, that seller can spend that money tomorrow, and that's gone.
Who's got more money than sense?
No, legitimately. Like, that's crazy to me. And that's where we got to resonate with everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Like, your first-time buyers right now, I mean, this is your second year in the business. Mm-hmm. Last year, you killed it.
Thanks.
How many did you do last year?
By myself, 4. But
how many did you touch? You touched a lot.
Co-listed, I think I got 8, 9. I don't even know.
See, that's awesome.
It's not about numbers. Mm-hmm. It's about helping.
And that's where people get lost. It's not transactional.
Yeah.
I mean, there's teams out there that all it is transactional, right?
Yeah, and that's gross. I mean, it's gross in the way of how much you can bring in.
It's capitalism, though, right? Like, that's the trade-off.
But I don't mean gross in a bad way, too. I mean, that's a play on words. But I'm not that kind of person, so I'm not going to pretend to be. And
that's where we get bad stigmas, right? Like,
yeah, I'm not a car salesman.
No.
I mean, used house salesperson, yes.
Correct. It's been used. You can do new ones, too.
Yeah, but then they only give you like 1% or none at all.
And you never know who you're talking to, right? I've run car dealerships. I've ran multiple construction companies, painting companies. And when you talk to someone and you tell them what you are, like, I know some people that are afraid to say they're in sales.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're scared. Like, sales is just a big no-no. Like, you don't say that. Like, you'll come up with everything. I'm a consultant. I'm an advisor. But no, like, I'm a salesperson does all of those things. Sales is, like, full encumbrance of all of that. Yeah. And being able to advise people what's best for their situation, because what's good for you doesn't mean it's good for me and A, B, C, and D. But everyone tries to make it seem like buying a house is just black and white. It's the same every time. No,
it's not. I haven't had one similar to the other at all.
No, it's not. I have a deal right now. I actually talked to you about it, where new builds, the houses were built like 3 years ago. My client is buying this house. They were done as condos or detached. They're single-family homes, but the properties are so small, the builder did them as condos. Yep, don't get me started. But now, I want to see your face here in a second because we talked about this. I didn't get to see it because we talked about it on the phone. And right after all the houses were sold, he got rid of the HOA. There's no HOA on record.
Like, what the heck? So then how do you go through that and then sell it?
Correct. We got to work around. We figured it out.
That's good.
So I had to call, me and my processor, we called all the owners in this development, find out that none of them have ever paid an HOA. It was abolished like day afterwards with the expectation that the homeowners were going to build one.
Oh, right.
Because everyone's going to be like, yes, I need to do that.
Yeah, no, that's not on the priority list.
So we called all of them, and we're like, hey, so who's the president? And then we had a few people who were like, oh, well, I want to be the president. We're like, cool, can you guys figure out who that is? And then I need that person to fill out a form for me.
Because you have to file an LLC and go through all that.
Have to.
Yeah.
Like, but on the county records, there was still a
the builder
HOA.
Was still?
Yes, on the record.
Oh, my God.
But nothing's ever happened. It's been a mess. But the key is figuring it out, right? Find a solution. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a puzzle. Every day is a puzzle.
The new builds right now are going up. I mean, this is what in the next few years, because we have a housing crisis, right? Like, we're not in a recession. We're in a crisis.
Yeah, well, the whole country's in a crisis.
No matter how we look at it, right? There's a million problems. But like first-time home buyers issues. What we're going to see though is a lot of builders, a lot of people pushing out product. And right now it's hit or miss because everyone likes the new, because you can, like, my house is old, right? Like the house I bought, I think it was built in like 82 or something like that. 72, 82, somewhere around there. It's old.
It's old for a house.
Old
it's
for,
old.
I love it. I would buy a 100-year-old house. I like all the unique old features. That's me and my wife buy. Like, we like character, right? Mm-hmm. But what I can't ever do is put 10-foot vaulted ceilings in the house.
Oh, no.
I can't put in a monstrous kitchen.
Yeah,
I can't have a huge bedroom.
Built right there. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Brand new.
And I get the appeal. Don't get me wrong. Like, when I bought that house, like, the goal was I was going to go build a house. Like, that was what I was going to do. I'm like, nope. Lumber went through the roof, backing out on that one. And that is where builders are able to get the upper hand in the market, I feel like, is because they get to control all of that because they know the demand's there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have an issue right now where they were not ready to sell. I've been under contract for 4 months. We've had 3 extensions. It's only a 4-unit development. The realtor has never done a new build condo. The builder, this is their first project, and this lawyer, it's one of his first. They're all buddies.
Everybody's cutting.
They're all buddies. They're all pretending like they all knew everything, but now it comes down to reality. And I'd call them in the first place. I'm like, hey, I have an entire condo team, national condo team, that for a little bit of money, it'll save you so much time. We can get this done.
Yeah.
And here we are after 4 months, and this deal could fall through because the builder decided he was going to take one of the properties. One of them got sold as an investment property, and you need 75% owner occupied to get an FHA loan in a condo development. And
you need the 3 out of the 4 to
and right now I'm at 50%.
Man, so you need 1 more.
4 months.
Oh my God.
4 months to then find this problem.
I mean, okay, so I'm new, but
Let's go.
But I always make sure to ask the people, like, okay, I see you guys are cranking it out. I want to know how you do it. And that I think has helped me a lot. And if you were to say, hey, you know, I've got some really good advice because I've been here before, I'd be like, yes, please, let me jump all over this.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
And that.
I hate looking like a rookie, being a rookie.
But asking questions is important.
Yeah, it is. But like trying to just wing it.
This one was a very unique situation. Yeah. It's a deal that it's actually with a realtor that got me into the mortgage side of things. She loved everything I did, and she's like, "You need to come over. I want you to do my loans," because she knows if there's a solution, I'll find it. Like I'm very creative in coming up with solutions, and this deal with her, and she's like, "You need to fix this. Like I need help." And she got to the point where she was so frustrated, not with me, because it wasn't my fault. Right. Like there was no communication from them. Issues were arising, not telling us. And now here we are in the 10th hour, and my clients are homeless now, like because the apartment is sold, and that's a lot of people's fear right now. Well, is what happens.
Seattle just donate that high rise?
Sure, they're doing a lot down there.
They can be homeless in the high rise.
It's crazy, and I feel terrible. Like, and the house is worth more than they paid for it. Like, so there's equity, so they don't want to give it up now.
Right.
They shopped for 3 months. We could have been shopping this whole 4 months if we knew this was all going to come up. And those are where having a team that can help guide you through that. I got one of my investor buddies to rent him a place for a couple months that was empty. I'm like, hey, is that coming? Help them out. Let's go. And like being able to use your own network to help people out, I feel like is where we can have the upper hand in helping find solutions, contractors and insurance agents. Like there's a lot of ways to help people outside of what we actually do.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you do before real estate?
Well, I did hair for 20 years.
You know a lot of people then.
I do. Well, and I know a lot of different types of people. The problem with the salon is it was close to the base too. So I owned a hair salon.
Which base?
JBLM.
Okay.
Joint Base, Lewis McCord. But I was near there, so every couple of years my clientele would cycle through. So I've met so many different people. They've scattered all over the world now.
All over the world.
Yep.
So could you sell a house in India?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not licensed in India.
I don't even know if there is a license. I don't know. I don't know the process over there.
Well, I don't think Century 21 specifically is in India, but I know they're in
probably not
80 different
Tell
countries.
me about your office. Tell me about you. What makes you different? Why people should do business with you or not even to call you for advice?
Because I will absolutely tell you the truth. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to go find it out. But I don't like to beat around the bush or sugarcoat things, and I might throw a swear word in there,
You might swear?
What?
No, you can't swear.
Well, but I'm a real person, so if I'm going to talk to somebody, it's going to be in my real vocabulary.
Correct.
I do have the "Hi, thank you for calling Century 21 North Homes" voice, but then I have me.
And then that's what makes everyone different, right? Like, it's okay if people don't like me. Yeah, that's all right.
That's fine.
We don't have to be friends.
Yeah, I've got other people at the office I can refer you to if you need. Something
and that's an important part, right? Like, I would say a majority of people in any sales, advisory, financial industry, their mantra is, I can do it. And then they don't want to not necessarily give up, but like the true good advice would be like, hey, I think you'll mesh better with A, B, C, or D. Yeah. And I think that's an important professional standard that should occur more.
Oh, absolutely. Or, I have given up. If it's too far away, I will give that referral to somebody else in the office that I know lives in that area. you know,
it's beneficial to the client.
I'm not going to drive up to Burien. Like, I'll drive up here to see you, but I'm not gonna like, I'll drive up.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll drive up here for the North Home ceremony that we're having tomorrow, but otherwise,
awesome.
Yeah, no, I make it a rule not to drive past like Federal Way.
But isn't that efficient for your clients though, too, though?
It is,
like if there's that house that came on the market that day and they want to see there's an opening and you're 2 hours away, but they're available now.
Hey, friend, you want to make some money for a door swing?
Yeah, like let's go. Like let's help them out. And I think that sucks sometimes and there is understandings. Like you can convince clients to be flexible because you're going to be flexible with them. I mean, people got their kids, their dogs, their houses, second jobs. Like people got a lot going on, and I think we should all be in the same boat. Yeah. But what sets us apart is that we can be there. Like I think that's like you want to be there and can be there. So you give like being able to give that business to somebody else is like efficient for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got a lot going on. I don't need to be selfish with taking all of the deals. If somebody else can turn it into something and help themselves, then I'm cool with that too, because it helps our whole office succeed.
100%. Yeah. If you've been doing this for a year now.
Yeah, this is the middle of my second year.
If you went back to day one with what you know now, what was one thing you would tell yourself that you should do, talk about, some sort of advice?
It's okay to pick up the phone.
What do you mean?
I don't like picking up the phone. Like I will text somebody, to try and warm that lead up first instead of just cold call them, because that's also not me. But apparently that's something with this business. But also what's cool is with my salon, I built it in my apartment off of MySpace, like 15.
MySpace. I loved MySpace.
Oh, yeah, right? Well, and I would spam people all day long. And then, eventually somebody would come in and get their hair done in my apartment. And I would always say, hey, bring a friend.
Yep.
Just in case, you think I'm creepy.
Referrals. Referrals are huge.
Exactly. And then you'll get half off for your next whatever. But I'm used to building a business online, and it looks as if everything is going online right now. So I really am trying to find more of a way to capture those people that way. And because, a lot of people, like in our age group, don't like talking on the phone anyways.
No, they avoid it.
Like adulting.
They run away.
Yes.
They don't want to do it.
Like, oh, you just text me, but now you're calling me. Oh, what do I hang up? Yeah. So, yeah, I would just rather like meet them where they're at. And if you need some links to something, if you need, some advice, you got questions, I am right here on text. And
that's an important part to note, though, because once again, that sets us up differently than everybody else. Like, they got to know us. They got to be available. And that's the thing about social media. You are always available, technically. People have access to you 24/7.
I try not to answer my phone past 8, but I will.
Which is a good rule of thumb, though. I mean, it's like, hey, if it's important, call me. Let's figure it out. If we're putting an offer in first thing in the morning, we do it now, fine, let's do it. Call me. Let's get that through.
Yes.
But more often than not, it's like, cool, I'll be up in the morning. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And phone, I use text a lot as well. But I do use it to get to a phone call as far as, like, I got a lady today who sent me an essay. It's actually our client. She texted me an essay with all of her questions.
Good, I'm so glad.
And I was like, hey, that is great. I have answers to all of those. You wrote me an essay. I'm going to write you back an entire
novella.
Do you want to do that, or should we just hop on a phone and bang it out like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And she was like, answer some of them, and then let's talk. I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, tonality is very important. Like, because in text don't always get the point through.
No.
Like, sometimes you have to be loud or quiet or comforting or like there's a lot of things that are important there where if you just put like a 6-word sentence together in a text, it could be really rude when at the same time you're like, no, like I was saying, like, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so at first I thought that it would be unprofessional to use emojis. But it turns out,
I love emojis.
Right. It turns out that it's actually, I've had some title people in their correspondence emails back and forth. They'll even put an emoji in their email. I'm like, oh my God, you're one of me.
No, you have to though.
Yeah.
I used to get in trouble a lot because at one of the dealerships I worked at, I'd always be like, what am I getting yelled at for now? Because I would send a text, like I'd get an email. And I would respond back super quick, almost like a text.
Yeah.
And then they'd read it, be like, oh, like I sent all this, like he doesn't even care. I'm like, and I started putting emojis in there to like a smiley face or something. They're like, oh, like that wasn't rude.
No, did you answer back with just K?
Yeah, like legitimately, it's like, and some of it would be like, hey, this is what I need you to do, and you'd be like, okay, cool, and then you respond, done, and they're like, well, like, did you actually read all that? I'm like, no, it's legitimately done. Like it's handled. Like you needed a bigger response. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's
Per
where
my last email.
Oh, that one will get you in trouble with almost everybody.
Oh, I know.
But do you have, what is your goals for this year? How about that? Let's do that. What are you hoping to accomplish this year as far as it can be personal, professional? Goals are important.
Double what I did last year.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I mean, duplication. That's being in. So I also grew up, my parents were business owners too. And so we read books all the time. And bottom line is duplication, duplication, duplication. So if you're going to do
more
it one
works.
year, just find a way to improve every quarter. Just figure out what you did, what you could improve on, and then do that. But also maybe not get so distracted by things that aren't helpful. Because, you know,
there's a lot of noise out there.
your phone rings all the time and you think, oh, maybe this is a lead. Somebody's calling me. It's not. Somebody wants to sell you something. Or, oh, can I rebrand you? No. No.
Well, that's the thing. Our phone numbers are all online, so people are always cold calling.
Yep.
And then I've been in sales a long time. So people call me to sell me stuff, and I try to reverse it and try to sell them something. That's what I used to do.
I've done that. But at the salon, like, hey, are you calling for an appointment?
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to, are you looking for a house?
See?
You want to sell
They
your
called
house?
you already.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I should do that.
Every conversation, like it's not selling. I don't remember who said it. That's probably Grant Cardone. I always listen to him a lot. And he was like, every conversation you should have some way to benefit their life. And usually it's in the form of a product. And if you can't sell them something that's beneficial to their life, you don't have enough products.
I'm the product.
Legitimately, right? That's
Right.
it. Everybody, you know somebody that's going to help the situation. You have access to some information they don't have. That is an important piece of our business, I think.
Is. Yeah. Well, and then interjecting humor into it too. You know, I think that's a huge thing. Because not once has this not been stressful. You know,
Stressful for everybody.
Yeah, it is. You know, at some point on the line, you're waiting for. Oh, I think I saw it on the broke agent this morning. You are waiting on something from the other agent who is waiting on their buyer who is out of the country. You know.
Oh, those ones are fun. Our spouses are in 2 different parts of the country, and neither of them are here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's.
And we all get through. We get through it though. I mean, that's where you lean on escrow a lot. Escrow crushes it. I remember double military. One was on duty, serving the country across the seas. Wife was in a different state, handling some family issues in the middle of selling and buying a property.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes you just have to. I mean, when it rains, it pours, right?
100%.
Yeah.
But it's all flexibility, and at that point, you're going to hit your deadlines, and some things they aren't going to. But when you have situations like that, communication, everybody's cool with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like usually that 24-hour deadline where you're at the very end, you don't want things to come up, but they do.
Yeah.
Like I've had some clean files that have been great for 6 months, no issues. And in the 10th hour,
Very last minute.
like a random collection shows up.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, cool. How are we going to solve it though?
Yeah.
And everyone's scared of underwriting. I mean, I'm scared of underwriting sometimes too.
My cousin's an underwriter. I'm not scared of her.
Here we do servicing loans. We do underwriting in-house. So everyone here like has the same goals. We're able to communicate. It wasn't the case in my last company. So here it's awesome.
Yeah.
For your clients, for us to be able to service their loans, not every company will do this. Have you heard re-amortizing a loan before?
I've heard of it. Like when I was taking the classes.
No, it's good. It's good. So this is important for people that are buying a house today and say they get an inheritance next year. And instead of taking 20 grand, 30 grand, 100 grand, whatever the number may be, instead of just applying it to your principal, which is a great thing to do, we'll actually re-amortize that over the length of your loan. So not only will it come off your principal, it also lower your payments you owe each month. And it costs them $200.
Oh, that's cheaper than a
instead
refinance.
Instead of an $8,000, $5,000 closing cost refinance.
Yeah. Oh,
so that's a huge benefit. Also, if there's billing issues, like they can just call me, and if they can't get a hold of me, they can call you, and then you can bug me like, hey, what are you doing? The clients need help. Like, call them, and then we can figure it out.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, call the 1-800 number, no idea who you're going to get, and it's a Sunday at 3 o'clock, and your bill's due tomorrow, and you have no idea how to do it.
Just call me.
It makes it easy.
Yeah.
A realtor side of things when it comes to a loan officer, for you guys, the importance of teamwork when it comes to putting in offers, I feel like is huge.
Very huge.
For communication, for clients to know what that payment's going to look like. Because if I just tell you, hey, they're approved for $700,000.
Yeah, but there's more. There's more to it than that.
What do you mean? I can't just give you $700,000 pre-approval?
I mean, you can give me a $700,000 pre-approval, but they're going to want a $700,000 house, and you can't do that.
You don't want a $5,000 a month mortgage, $4,000 a month mortgage when your expectations were $2,000?
No, I don't. In fact, I had that conversation with, I want to say with one of my clients, but with my husband, but for us trying to figure out our own house. And he's like, well, should we ask to be approved for X amount? And I'm like, baby, realistically, we can afford this amount. Like, look at what our current rent is, look at how much we want to pay, and then multiply that, and that's kind of where we're going to be looking. And for the most part, I was spot on with where we would be.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it's supposed to be.
I know things.
I mean, I would hope so. I mean, no, and that's important, but also that's important during the entire process to keep clients in line as far as, like reel them in, talk to them, let's figure it out, because it sucks when I do work with some realtors and where they're super aggressive, like, hey, let's just max out your pre-approval. And some of them, it's hard to explain that, like, hey, taxes are really high in that area. Like, we're quoting their payments based off, $4,000 a year. Now you're on a property that's $8,000 a year. They're not approved for the $700,000 more. Now they're actually approved around $600,000 on that house. And trying to explain that, sometimes everyone's mad.
Oh, I know, but you have to explain that kind of stuff, because I'm not going to put you in a house that you're not going to be able to afford, and you guys aren't going to lend on something that isn't going to get paid back either.
It actually goes against our license, believe it or not. On
It should.
Legitimately, as far as houses that go into foreclosure and things, like, there's leeway, obviously, because not everything's our fault. But at the same time, we're expected to put you in a situation that is beneficial to you long term, that is not going to go backwards. Like, let's put you in a house if you have to foreclose in 18 months.
Yeah. So if it gets sold off, if my loan gets sold off just to like a second party, does that, if I default on it, does it still go against you?
I'm not sure. I have never had it happen to me. I've only heard stories about it, because obviously I have lots of years of experience who've been around 6, 7, 8. Right. And it wasn't a huge thing before that. Now we are heavily regulated. Like, people try to...
Well, yeah, because there's no crash coming.
No.
People think there is.
People are hoping there is.
Yeah.
Like people have waited for the last 3 years, have lost $100,000 to $300,000 of net worth in that time period. But everyone's like, well, that's all going to disappear. And I'm like, based on what? It's going to cost more, but the loan to values, the debt to incomes, the things that we have to verify, and that's why everyone's scared of underwriting. I was like, look, there's nothing to hide, and everything you told me is true. I'll find the solution for you, and we're going to come up with a game plan of what happens in the next year, 5 years, 10 years. Like, what does your life look like during then? And first-time home buyers, like, you don't have to be in love with this house.
No, that's the other thing, is they keep thinking that it's like their parents or their grandparents' generation when you buy a house and that's your forever house. No, this is monopoly generation now. You got to buy the little houses so you can get the big hotel. You got to.
That's a great way to put it. I love that.
Jump up. It's like, do you remember that guy that traded the paperclip and then eventually ended up with like?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to find something of more value and trade it.
A lot of fun. That was a good one.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was 30 minutes.
30 minutes long. That's crazy.
Yeah.